Let's start with the company's background. Tealive is one of the largest lifestyle tea brands in Southeast Asia. They have over 800 outlets around the world, including countries like Australia, Vietnam, and Philippines. It is the most popular Malaysian bubble tea brand with various of bubble tea or drink to choose from flavors to topping, which are customizable for customers according to their taste delight. Tealive brand had been introduced and owned by Loop Holdings Sri Berhad since back in February 2017, which was specifically founded by Brian Lu, the CEO of the company. The brand has continued to innovate, introduce new products to stay competitive in the rapidly growing bubble tea industry. Hence, standing among the university building in Kedah, which is known as Tealive University Utara Malaysia or Tealive UUM, that located in SAFB building, University Utara Malaysia Sintok Kedah, is one of the outlets that reached the peak point of students to choose. Tealive UUM have been managed by the only person Rian Berhad, with their own co-founder of this outlet, Mr. Azhar bin Mahmad. According to the co-founder Mr. Azhar, Tealive UM was created further back at the end of 2019. Due to the pandemic of COVID-19, Tealive UM had the experience to stop the operation in almost 2 years and open it up in October 2022, where it was not fully open. The operation fully started up during the recovery process of the pandemic in October 2023. Currently, the outlet operates from 8 a.m. until 7 p.m. every day to attract customers of their variety menus that they serve every day. The expenditure cycle system of a company like Tealive involves processes and procedures related to the purchasing of goods and services necessary for its operation. Here's a simplified overview of how the expenditure cycle might work at Tealive UM. Firstly, Tealive UM identifies its needs for various goods and services required for its business operation. This could include ingredients for their beverages, packaging materials, equipment, and other supplies. The purchase of raw materials depends on the analysis issued by the system depending on the previous record, bi-weekly, monthly, or even yearly analysis. When the storekeeper of a Tealive UM reviews and identifies a niche into the system, the manager will check the requisition and generate a purchase requisition according to the supplier. This document details the items needed, quantity, specification, and any other relevant information. The requisition is then sent to the purchasing department for approval. Once it has approved, a purchase order is then created and sent to their usual supplier. The purchase order outlines the details of the purchase, including the items, quantities, prices, delivery dates, and any other relevant terms and conditions. When the goods or services are received, the Tealive UM receiving clerk will check the shipment against the detail on the purchase order to ensure accuracy. Upon satisfactory receipt of goods or services, the supplier sends an invoice to Tealive. The account payable department reviews the invoice to match with the purchase order and receiving report and approve it for payment. A direct payment is made during the process of purchasing inventory. Throughout this process, all transactions related to the expenditure cycle are recorded in Tealive UM accounting system. This includes the initial purchase requisition, the purchase order, the receiving reports, invoice, and payment records. Finally, all the systematic filing report like the financial transaction report and the receipt report related to the expenditure cycle are submitted to the headquarters to provide insight into Tealive UM's spending pattern, budget adherence, and overall financial health.
My name is Karen Antonisami and my metric number is 285581, and I'm going to continue our presentation of the physical data flow diagram of Tealive UM branch. As the diagram shown in the slide, that is the flow of the Tealive UM. Firstly, the supervisor receives the requisite form from the storekeeper, and supervisor will pass the purchase data to the manager. And the purchase data is passed to the supplier. The supplier will pack the order and send it for delivery, and it will be handled by the storekeeper. And the supplier also send a payment invoice to the manager, and followed by the manager will report it to our owner. And lastly, the owner will send the payment voucher to the supplier. This is the review for Tealive physical diagram flow, and I'll pass it to the next presenter. Thank you.
In this section, I will explain the logical data flow diagram. These are purchase processing and cash disbursement procedures. Tealive UM purchase raw material for production, and their purchasing decisions are authorized by the production planning and control function. The inventory control function provides the purchase authorization for Tealive UM. First, monitor inventory record. When inventory drops to a predetermined reorder point, a purchase requisition is prepared and sent to the prepare purchase order function to initiate the purchase process. The vendor file is a file containing vendor mailing information, as Tealive is franchisee, therefore they had a fixed vendor. Second, prepare purchase order. The prepare purchase order function receive the purchase requisition. Next, a purchase order PO copy is prepared and sent to the vendor. In addition, a purchase copy is sent to the receive goods function, where it is held until the inventories arrive. The last copy is filed in the open-close purchase order file. Third, make a payment. Tealive UM received the supplier invoice containing the financial needed. The payment will be done via FPX. The cash of disbursement will post to general ledger. Fourth, receive goods. During this time, the copies of the PO reside in temporary file in various departments. At this point, Tealive UM has received no inventories and incurred no financial obligation, as it is already paid. The next event in the expenditure cycle is the receipt of inventory. Goods arriving from the vendor are reconciled with the blind copy. The stockkeeper will sign the bills of lading so that if there is any damage, it can be detected before place the goods in inventory. After the completion of physical count and inspection, the stockkeeper prepares a receiving report stating the quantity and condition of the inventories. One copy of receiving report accompanies the physical inventories to the raw material storeroom for safekeeping. Another copy is filed in the open-close PO file to close out the purchase order. A copy is sent to inventory control for updating the inventory records. Finally, a copy of the receiving report is placed in the receiving report file. Fifth, update inventory record. Posting a standard cost inventory ledger requires only information about the quantities received. Because the receiving report quantity information, it serves this purpose. After that, post to general ledger. The general ledger function receives the journal voucher from cash disbursement summary. The approved journal voucher is then filed. This concludes the cash disbursement procedures.
Hi, my name is Hafiza binti Harusham. I will continue to the next part, which is document or system flowchart. The flowchart represents a process that involves the multiple departments within a Tealive company. Specifically, the purchasing department, computer operation, receiving department, cash disbursement department, and general ledger department. Here are the breakdowns of the process in each department. First, purchasing department. It will start with reviewing the inventory levels and, if necessary, a purchasing order, which is PO, is created, and then the PO then filed for the recording keeping. The next is computer operation. The sales order system triggers a purchase requisition when an order is placed and inventory needs replenishing. The purchase system checks against a valid vendor files to ensure the vendor is approved for the transaction. And then the purchasing system then generates a PO and sends it to the supplier. Then, open or close PO file is updated with the new PO status. Once the goods are received, the receipt report is generated. The supplier invoice is received and the inventory subledger is updated accordingly. Finally, all the information is sent to the general ledger. Next part is receiving department. The supplier sends the goods along with a packaging slip. And then the receiving department compare the packaging slip with the PO and the receipt report to ensure the accuracy. The goods are then stored and all documents are filed. A receiving report is generated for the manager. Cash disbursement department is the next one. Upon they are receiving the supplier invoice, this department review it for the accuracy. Then they proceed with the payment process and file the management report. The last one is General Ledger Department. The General Ledger Department reviews the General Ledger to ensure all the transactions are accurately recorded. A General Ledger report is created and filed. The flowchart indicates a system's approach to inventory management, purchasing, receiving, and payment process with the checks and balance at each stage to ensure the accuracy and accountability. Each department plays a specific roles in managing the flow of the goods and finance with the organizations. That's all from us. Thank you.